Power Hour with John Lee.
Mr. Lloyd Coke, aka Jim Brown. So, Cokey, Lloydie, Lester, or Jim, he had many names, and he was from Jamaica. And he grew up in the suburbs of Kingston. Very poor. He was called a sufferer. Not him personally. He was part of a group in society there called the Sufferers, and they lived in abject poverty. I read that you can hear this like a constant screaming sound. You know, these people are poor, right? And there's no real access to education. So Lester Lloyd Coke, he was a nice kid apparently. Wasn't violent particularly. Good guy. He had friends. But he had no access to school. He didn't go to high school because he couldn't go to high school. And he kind of inherited the spirit of the place. So this is a very rebellious place, Jamaica. It was a slave colony. But even when it was a slave colony, they had an uprising every 5 years. It's distinct in that sense. And they were given the kind of freedom from the empire, but it was fake. It's a fake freedom. So now they're not subjected directly by the American government. They're subjected by American corporations and others, facilitated by the American government. And it has always been the case. You know, this has always been the way. And so we remember the classic song, Ayo, Ayo, that. Well, that is an old Jamaican folk song. It's not just a bit of yodeling. The guy says, "Hey, Mr. Tallyman, tally me banana. Daylight come and me want go home." That is about Jamaican guys working on the dock, stacking bananas. And the tallyman is the guy who comes and takes the tally. He counts the bananas, and then he gives them a penny a fucking banana or whatever, and they can go home before it comes light and they'll be able to get some sleep. So, hey, Mr. Tallyman, tally my banana. Daylight comes, I want to go home. Sung in a Jamaican style, and so that gives you a flavour of the place that he grew up in. And it was full of political unrest, and there was a Labour Party there, which was actually a far right-wing party. So there's some branding for you. They called it the Labour Party. It was actually far right-wing, and it was backed by the American government and by the CIA. And they probably told them to call it the Labour Party because people will look once and think, oh, they're, normal left-wingers, but, slightly left-of-centre Labour Party. No, radical right-wingers. And what they did was they had a leader called Edward Seaga. And they'd go to people and say, oh, if you vote for us, we'll give you a house. Right? So they'd build some houses and put people in, but people are going to vote for them. So they put their own voters in these houses and use this to win elections. And then to do the other side of it, they go down to another housing complex or project, and they'd torch the fucking thing. They'd burn it. They'd burn the fucking housing project with everyone in it, and then bulldoze the motherfucker because they're voting for their own people, and build new housing on that patch of land and put the other fucking side in. Oh yeah, our voters live there now. Fuck you. So you can imagine this kind of situation that Lester Lloyd Coke is growing up in, and he becomes an enforcer for the bad guy, for Seaga, the guy who's doing this, the guy who's backed by the CIA and the American government. And so as he grows up, he gets more and more dangerous. He gets harder and harder, more and more dangerous, and he becomes the Don. Right? And that's what they call him. They call him Dons. He's the Don in a large area of Kingston, central area of Kingston. He's the main man. And he's also the chief protector of the president, Seaga. And so not only has he got complete power in the ghettos and the hoods, but he's also got military fucking hardware at his disposal because he's working for the government. And not just that, he's got diplomatic immunity because he's a direct employee of the president. So you can't fuck with this guy, right? You cannot fuck with him. And he's the leader of a group called the Shower Posse, right? This is a posse obviously called the Shower Posse. And they're not called the Shower Posse because They all get together in the morning for a shower and soap each other up. You know, Denzel, you forgot your gonads, man. You know, it's not that. They're called the Shower Posse because when they fucking fire the bullets at you, they shower you in bullets. It's fucking naughty. And so what does he do? He takes over the island, you know, in terms of its underworld. And he gets a green card. He's got a diplomatic immunity. He's got all kinds of cards. And he's got 57 different types of, I'm exaggerating, or maybe not. He's got all kinds of different IDs and passports and green cards and whatever you want. He prints them off. So he's coming in and out of America all the time, all kinds of different IDs, identities, names. Sometimes he's Jim Brown, sometimes he's Lester Coke, sometimes he's not. And the American government have got no idea who he is. But he's bringing the Shower Posse in. And they're I mean, for example, somebody owed him some money or fucked around in a fucking coke house. And he cracked them. Walks in there, 5 people, fucking executes them all. Puts a woman down on her hands and knees, bang, shoots her in the face. Right? And I mean, that's to send a message. And the Shower Posse, they're killing everyone. They don't give a fuck. They're shooting up the popo, no problem. Because in Jamaica, they don't give a fuck. They'll shoot you. You know, the police are not on whoever's side's got the most money, as they are in every country in the world, but really visibly in Jamaica. And so he's there, Lester, and the Shower Posse, and they're running the crack trade for the Cali cartel. So they're not fucking around. All right, this is major. It's interstate. They're also running weapons all over the USA. They're completely corrupting all kinds of government officials through a guy called Vivian Blake. Vivian Blake was the underboss. He was like the smooth, slick side of the business. If you ever watch The Wire, there's a character in that called Stringer Bell who works under Avon Barksdale. And he's that kind of character. Got more manners to him. Looks, you know, more natural in a suit. That was the function really of Vivian Blake. And so these guys were massive. And, you know, the Shower Posse were all over the place. Eventually, the DEA gets involved because they get to the level of being regarded as organised crime. And at first, they start arresting members of the Shower Posse. And they don't mind grassing people up. It's a cultural difference. So, you know, as soon as you put the cuffs on them, they say, it was Denzel, man. You want to know what Denzel did? You know what I mean? And they'll fucking testify all over the place, and they go, don't give a fuck. You know, and they all do it. And so they started putting down some consequences, the Shower Posse, and the brutality of the violence kind of toned down how much people were willing to testify about. And eventually, our mate Lester tries to send a big fucking shipment of guns to Jamaica. That gets intercepted. He gets arrested. He gets out. Diplomatic immunity. Fuck you, see you later. And then he killed some innocent person because he's just a bad man. He just killed an innocent person and got arrested for it. And now we're starting to get a public outcry in Jamaica. These things are normally manipulated. But they put him in prison, right? So he's in prison and he's awaiting extradition. And they're pushing for extradition and it's going to happen. And then the prison burns down. And Lester Lloyd Coke is killed inside it. Now, you tell me, this guy is working directly for Edward Seaga, who's the president of the country. The president of the country is directly responsible for the activities of Lester Lloyd Coke. Lester Lloyd Coke is the boss of the Shower Posse who are running drugs all over America for the Cali cartel. Edward Seaga was put in charge of Jamaica by the CIA, which is a department of government in the United States of America. So you've got the fucking White House involved, you've got the CIA involved, you've got the fucking Cali cartel, you've got the Jamaican government, and you've got the Jamaican fucking Shower Posses, right? And at the top of it all, you've got Lester Lloyd Coke. And when he lives his usefulness because he's killing people in the street. They fucking put him in a prison and then burn it down. Oh, sorry. You know what I mean? Prison burnt down and all that. And anyway, thousands of people mourned him at his funeral. He was destroying your fucking communities, peeps. But there's a lot of that. We'll see that on the show today. Kind of hero worshipping those who profit from your destruction. And Christopher Coke, the son of Lester Lloyd Coke, became the new boss of the Shower Posse and was also a brutal bastard. And he's in prison now. He got 27 years. So Lester Lloyd Coke, a.k.a. Jim Brown, head of the Shower Posse, major criminal.
Jim Brown bankrolled Tivoli. Much of his wealth came from crack dealing in the United States. His gang, the Shower Posse, led the Jamaican assault on the US drugs market. Some of his riches came back to Tivoli and helped fund community projects.
Brown came to Miami in 1984 to see what was going on with his Shower Posse and their drug dealing activities. And while he was here, in November that year, he walked into a house and executed 5 people. He walked around each one of them and shot them in the head with a .45. Jim Brown is a bad man.
When he was arrested at the request of the Americans, he faced charges of murder, drug trafficking, extortion. From prison, he fought a legal battle against extradition. He lost the fight, but he never stood trial in an American court. It was said that too many powerful people would have been implicated if he had. Jim Brown was burned to death in his cell. Officially accident, more likely murder. Edward Seaga, the former Jamaican Prime Minister and Jim Brown's patron, led a funeral procession of 35,000 people. Tivoli is Seaga's constituency.
Major criminal, organised crime figure. And he wasn't really dependent on anybody. Although he did deal basically for the Cali cartel. Big time. Let's rock.